Welcome back to Amy Stadium, NAB Cup round 1. Adelaide Crows out. Melbourne won't be far away. Let's have a look at the Adelaide Crows lineup for game 1.
Well, in many ways, it's about who's missing for Adelaide. They have to overcome the loss of a group of super players. McLeod, Birdman, Edwards, Goodwin, Box gone to the Gold Coast, as we know. But from those that are going to be playing this year, no Vince, McKay or Knights. But it's all about seeing the youngsters. And one in particular for me, Jurrah, I'd like to see Salah play a midfield ruckman role. I think he's a guy with enormous potential. Davis is back in the group, of course, and I think they're 2 or 3 of their very talented youngsters.
Well, I agree totally, Jared, and some of those big names. I think it's an opportunity for Adelaide, just with those experienced players now retired, that players get a lot more opportunity. We look to Melbourne's side now, if you look to first-round draft picks or some of the best picks they've had in the last 3 to 4 years, this is a year where they need to really perform, Jared. I think they have to sneak into the 8. I think just on the edge or just sneak into the 8, I think that's the bare minimum for a year. They've got a number of players missing too. Scully, that man who's been talked about during the week. Nathan Jones, Frawley out with an injury, which could be long-term, as in 6 to 8 weeks. That was a tragic thing to happen pre-season for the D's.
Along with Pettard, Warnock and Carl Morton, he'll also be out long-term, rupturing a ligament. But that's a big moment, Jurrah, for anybody in their AFL careers. Tossing the coin in anger for the first time is Brad Green.
Well, look, I've been there myself, Jared, and then you have to make changes even as a coach, take it off. Great captains, and I had that with Gavin Brown. I made Nathan Buckley captain, one of the hardest things I've ever had to do. But you make those decisions knowing that a man can cope with it. And I think Brad Green's been sensational. Should have been in the All-Australian side last year, Jared.
Yeah, well, some of us don't disagree with you, Jurrah. New look strip for the Demons, your away strip, and I reckon it's a beauty. But here's the home side. The Adelaide Crows, of course, they will rest first up, and they'll come back in about an hour and a bit's time and take on Port Adelaide.
Yes, for Adelaide Crow fans, of course, Nathan Van Berlo tossing the coin for the first time as captain of this club as well. As we head downstairs, Liam Pickering.
Yeah, conditions down here are pretty good for this opening game, boys. It's a lot of rain here this morning. It rained pretty heavily this morning, I should say, and then this afternoon it's been okay. A few worrying clouds around, I should say, but the conditions really are pretty good. And it's a little bit blustery, but a beautiful night to play footy. Just interesting, the Port Adelaide boys all stripped and ready to go in the race, just getting a bird's eye view about their opponents, which will take place in about an hour.
We'd want to kick left of screen, wouldn't you, Pickers?
That's the direction I'd probably be going, Jared. Yes, trying to get in a 20-minute half. I reckon you'd want to get a few scores on the board early.
There's Dean Laidley, of course, former North Melbourne coach, but a man who was looking to go, I think, at one stage late last year, Jurrah, but has elected to stay. And there's an All-Australian from the Demons who had a fantastic year last year, the big man in the ruck.
Mark Jamar. Just one thing about early in the season, pre-season, we know normally it'd be scrambly, Jared. A lot of players, just finding their touch. Some of the strategies, Collingwood, sides trying to emulate Collingwood's forward pressure of last year. Will we see that instigated tonight in this game, or will they just hold back a little bit, these sides?
So the Ashes are long gone. Tennis is over. Footy is underway in 2011, and it's great to have it back. Umpires in action tonight, don't forget. If there's a score, they can refer it upstairs. Jeff Geeshan and Rowan Saws in the box upstairs can overturn scoring decisions if they need to. So Jamar in the ruck, Dangerfield, it'll push in the back, but he got it out. New captain Van Berlo, so he's in the action early, the new Adelaide Crows captain, and that's a strong grab up forward by McKernan. Sean McKernan taking the mark on 50. Just played the one AFL game so far in his career, and as we said in the intro, plenty of young players hoping to use the NAB Cup to entrench themselves in this lineup.
And already the Adelaide Crows have got a massive zone set up just in case they lose. We'll get a wide shot if this one misses, but it doesn't look like it's going to. It's a great kick off the boot, just falling short. And we'll have a look at this zone that's already been set up. Pretty good effort by the Crows. They've done a lot of preparation on this. They were all up in the forward half even before that kick was executed.
Now, Jared, you picked this, and I just mentioned about Collingwood, the forward pressure. I think the way around this is you have to get in early, get the ball off early, or have a set play from the kick-ins.
Well, a big push out.
Grimes with the kick in. He wanted Jamar, but the push in the back. Maric with the free.
It's a classic example of you just need some time to get your timing right.
Cook long towards Walker, and outmarked. He had a couple to go against him there, Taylor Walker. Couldn't get anywhere near it. No injury there. He looked a little proppy, Garland, as he got up. dangerous ball. McNamara was the target, cut off hands. McKernan again with a touch. Van Berlo getting plenty of it. Inside 50, got out just in time as Jack Gunston centering kick. What a kick that is for a kid wanting to entrench himself in this lineup, to be that disciplined, and Douglas will kick a goal from 40 out.
Well, one of the great problems for the Demons, looking at their list and where they're going to at the moment, Jurrah, is that they have got a real dearth of good kicks in the back line. At that time, it was one of their better kicks, Brad Green not hitting a target, but it is one of the issues with everybody pressing up. They've got to find some guys that are good kicks to find targets getting it out.
So from 35 out, last year's best and fairest winner with the Crows gives them the opening goal.
Well, Richard Douglas, gee, he did have a great year last year, Dwayne. He marched better over his head than you give credit for, but we can just see here, discipline play again. The Crows get the ball into that area. I think it was Gunston who centred the ball. Well, that is discipline. You've been trained that way over pre-season in some set play setups, and a good finish by Douglas. So good start to the Crows.
Yeah, Jack Gunston, one of the players who's changed numbers over summer. He's changed to Jonathan Griffin's old number 6 from his old number last year.
I wonder what nickname he's got, Jack.
I think Norman's going to stick for a while.
Here we go.
Umpires calling the action as they go through their motions with a here we go.
Big win for Douglas there, getting that early goal. He's playing on Brent Maloney, who's one of the leaders of the Demons in the midfield.
And nearly got himself a free there. Douglas straight up in the air, though,
Just
to the
see how
wing.
strong that wind is there.
Now, there's rule in this first round of the NAB Cup. Last man to touch it out of bounds. Free kick to the opposite team. Unless it's a smother or it's not decisive.
That was really smart. He knocked it back in off the leg and dragged himself in a free kick.
So it's not decisive. The umpires can't make a decisive decision on who touched it last.
Well, it was off the Melbourne player, but was smart by Douglas knowing the rule, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Boys, it was out in the full, so the umpires made a blue there.
Right, they've made 2 blues then, you're saying, Pickers, because under the old rules, that was still a free kick.
Under any rules,
Right,
out in the
okay.
full was a free kick.
No, I don't think out in the full was a free kick in the 50s.
Let's have a look. I think that was too high, was it? Was it below the knee from this one? Oh, right on the knee, Pickers. Gee,
I'm a bird. I'm right on the spot here, boys.
Well, that is a free kick, and it's advantage paid here. Short pass on the 50. Taylor Walker's marked that on the paint. So even if you're new to NAB Cup footy, even if he kicks a goal from here outside the 50-metre arc, it will only be worth 6 points. A few new rules, if you're new to footy, and a lot of people up north joining the game with Great Western Sydney and the Gold Coast in the NAB Cup this year. Great to have you joining our great game. This is Taylor Walker. From outside 50, hits it low. It's against a slight breeze. It holds up, and Jamar uncontested.
I think it might be more than a slight breeze, Dwayne. I think it's pretty stiff, but the Demons haven't gone inside forward 50 yet. They have come out pretty flat.
New captain Green gives it off Sylvia. Again, the Crows have the numbers. John Cock gets there to attempt to spoil. Bait, slick hands, shoots it wide. Maric trying to get it out for the Demons. Heavy collision. Bait. Richard Tambling, the number 1 jumper, gets a big cheer from the Crows fans. Richie Tambling.
Early fumble cost them a goal. Young Howe, Jeremy Howe, was running hard. Sure, to an empty goal square, he would have been on the end of it if the handle had have stuck.
Davey short, off hands, Dangerfield. Bait, they've combined to mess it up between them. The Adelaide Crows with Luke Thompson, who's playing in his first game for the Adelaide Crows, getting a touch. Garland close to the boundary. Davey shoots it back again, the old 1-2 with Tringove. Just a reminder for those of the Demon faith, Scully not playing tonight, Tom Scully, even though he was in the squad. Bartram long, inside 50 and dropping back. Strong mark for the Adelaide Crows. Luke Thompson, who, as I said before, playing in his first game for the club. Seller, short. Half back, this is Brodie Martin, called to play on. Watts doesn't come at him initially. Floats it up. Henderson for 4 deep, but Dangerfield too strong. Front and centre. Van Berlo having a good night at the office so far. Jensch wearing the number 10 this year. Rolls it inside 50. Kick not so good. Jamar, Bartram, Green all combined to hack it long. And Seller should get there. Can't mark to his own advantage. Martin comes at him, forces him to go back. Phil Davis.
They've long bombed into the forward line twice now, the Demons, and they've been outnumbered both times. They've got to look up a little bit.
Now, that was off a spoil, so it won't be a free kick to the other team. Any spoil out of bounds doesn't count.
Well, Brad Green was the man long bombing.
Richard Tamling. Well, Tamling's been playing across halfback for Adelaide in a lot of the practice games, so we might see utilising his run from that area.
Green to Bate. Little tap on. Jurrah. He dropped that when he was tackled, and that's still holding the ball. They haven't changed that one, and hopefully never will. John Cock. Davis just eluded him, and that'll be a free to Melbourne. That was last team to touch at Adelaide, so Melbourne could have a shot here. Martin elects not to. Short pocket, and the mark taken for the Demons by Maric, who plays on and slots it. Addam Maric with a ripper.
Well, great piece of play by Addam Maric and Stephen Martin for isolating him pretty quickly. Good shot round the corner. But this is, Jurrah, I guess, as a result of a poor kick.
Yeah.
Now, you could have argued it was deliberate, but under these rules, it doesn't really matter because it was the last man touch was a Crows player. The turnaround resulted in a goal. And that's why coaches continually pull their hair out and want players to hit targets.
I think it just shows that the one thing you have to do if you've got a defensive unit, you would hope the majority, Jurrah, you might have one really defensive player who likes to handle a lot, but they really have to be able to kick the ball by foot. You won't be playing in that area of the ground often if you turn the ball over, especially with this new rule in the NAB Cup.
Yeah, well, that last man to touch it out of bounds rule is only in for round one of the NAB Cup, so only in these opening 2 weekends. So Jacobs into the ruck now, the new recruit for the Adelaide Crows. Into the ruck against Jurrah. Free kick, though, has been found. It's Adelaide's ball. Andy Otten.
Jared Petrenko is also playing an unusual role. He's tagging up Aaron Davey and going with him off a half-back flank.
Walker attacked that nicely. Slipped back. Walker with a handball. Sloan has chased his number over summer as well. There's the 28-year-old on debut. Callanan centres the ball and a big grab by Jurrah. Another mature age recruit. Callanan playing for the Adelaide Crows tonight at the age of 28 years of age. So just inside the boundary line for Jurrah, and he puts the Jets on. Short midfield. Bates got 3 to beat. Otten too clever in the end. They get numbers. John Cock. Walker's getting plenty of it.
Just running the ball out of defence so much more easily at the moment, the Crows. And it's going to be one of those season-long debates, Jurrah. Where does Aaron Davey play? Because he is their best player at bringing the ball outside of the defensive 50.
Yeah, I think sometimes, Jurrah, you've got to try and get some scoring power and that use of the ball forward as centre instead of coming out, kicking it to your centre-half forward area. Go a bit deeper with him.
Ex-Blue Jacobs short again towards Walker. Garland with a shin. Jurrah with slick hands to Dunn. Couldn't take possession, didn't get tackled, didn't want to drag it in either. Garland gets them out of that little spot of bother with some help from Evans, who is another first gamer for the Demons tonight. Dangerfield works well in heavy traffic yet again. John Cock.
Sylvia Cop one.
Here's Callanan, the 28-year-old. He's been around the traps, tried out at 4 AFL clubs before Adelaide gave him this chance tonight. Yench. Short inside 50, straight through Sloan's hands. Trying to make amends. Gets the handball up just in time. Snap from Brodie Smith. And a damn good snap at that. Jack Gunston in the square.
Well, just great body work there because he was behind in positioning then, Gunston, but you just saw him use either his hands or his body at the last moment, cannot push in the back, and found that little bit of space at the fall of the ball.
History-making premiership with Central Districts again last year, Jack Gunston, and he has missed from there. Yeah, Jack Gunston is one of those players who's got a very bright future if he fixes his kicking. There's the bump, Sylvia. Well, a little too high perhaps, but
he led with his head, Dwayne. I don't think that was the opposition player's fault.
For the Adelaide Crows, I don't think Brodie Martin's got anything to worry about.
Let's go, move on! Fire! Yours!
Rivers with the task here, and good at it.
Well, he just isolated a bigger player against a small player then. The was well thought out by the fullback from Melbourne.
So they can waste a bit of time here, Melbourne, if they like. There is no time on added in the first 17.5 minutes of each half. Only time on added to the last 2.5 minutes. So effectively, you can waste time early in halves. Douglas again to set it up. Then Burlow, short, and Walker, who's been everywhere.
Well, the turnover kills you whether it's a NAB Cup game or not. Melbourne taking a lot of time getting that ball out of defence. It's hurting them, those Dwayne and Jurrah, because they are the ones kicking with a pretty significant breeze at the present time. So they're just not getting the ball forward cleanly enough, and the Crows are getting them on the rebound.
20 gone, let's go.
Tim Bailey coaching from downstairs. Adelaide Crows coaches boxes behind the goals for tonight's game. Walker tried to strike it low, struck it wide.
Well, it was a plague for them early last year, Dwayne, the Crows. They could not kick goals.
Now, Jared, here it is, this fullback kicking. Melbourne have got all the players to the left of the goal line, as you can see it there. They're going to keep possession by slow, but now they're going to try and split the lines. I think you're still going to get the ball in quick if it's on, and they've messed it up nearly here again with the turnover. A lot of pressure still on the ball, that forward pressure.
It's a great zone they're trying to work through, though.
Is it what?
Rivers and Grimes.
Already they've got more numbers, and I think they've got to push more numbers up into behind the ball until they get it out, Jurrah.
And it comes off for Adelaide. Smith, who Neil Craig told us before the game is expecting big things from, and he started extremely well, the new recruit. Seller couldn't drag it in. Otten, hands and knees, gets it off. Petrenko wearing Andrew McLeod's old number 23, Jared Petrenko. High inside 50. Almost the pluck. Maric playing full forward now. Hacked out of there by Garland. Clean boldly and Jurrah. He's back onto it. Can he use the toe? Here we go. Little tap to advantage. Inside 50. Plenty of space. Has a bounce. Sizes them up. Hasn't quite got the touch back yet.
Only a tiny bit rusty, though. It was exciting, even his misses.
Seller.
Interesting matchup, Seller, on this man, in fact.
And stolen by Watts. And he kicks the goal. Perfect steal.
Well, that hurts because James Seller is playing on Jack Watts. And whilst Watts is in the zone, he's not obviously responsible for him, but this is good reading of the play. He's shown he's pretty smart between the ears, is Jack Watts, and hasn't had a lot of it to date, but that's a handy way to kickstart your day.
Well, I think nearly every shot at goal that we've seen in this game, other than one mark, has been from a turnover from the defensive units, giving the ball up. And good sides will really make you pay, and smart players with Jack Watts normally finishes very well by foot.
So if you've joined us late, this is the first half. 20-minute halves, 2 20-minute halves, 3 games being played tonight, and if you win your 2 games, you're straight through to the second round, guaranteed. Dangerfield short. Jacobs, the reach, couldn't grab it. Stephen Martin. And Melbourne have got their run going now. Bennell, short. Jurrah, Tambling on him.
Brad Green running hard forward, one-on-one.
And Jurrah places it on a platter.
Good call, Jared. Good call. That's what great forward players do. They know they pick the space even before the player's thinking about kicking the ball to him. You called it. He doubled his man backwards, knowing that's the only place that Jurrah was going to turn to.
What I like, though, mainly for the Demons, though, was Bennell coming off that half back line. He read it well and he got it forward, and it's going to be the key to zones, getting defenders to break lines.
He's playing on Luke Thompson, who is a debutant, yet to play an AFL game, Luke Thompson, so he's on the most experienced end, arguably the best Demon, and Brad Green makes him pay.
A couple of good minutes there for the Demons. One from a turnover, and then that one from their own worth. In fact, it was Stephen Martin, who I think has got a future in the ruck. He was the one who pushed forward. They've got to come up with another mobile ruckman, Jurrah. You may well, Stephen Martin, be being trialled as that substitute player, the number 24 player or 22 player, and because he can go into the middle and he can go forward.
It just showed you, though, that in great foot skills will cut any zone up. If you keep possession of the play, you cannot cover all areas, and your zone can't get back quick enough if you carry the ball. And Bennell then became nearly an 80-metre player by running the ball.
It's a big task to give a player like Luke Thompson, who is 20 years of age, playing his first ever game for the Crows.
Education, Dwayne, education.
Yeah, which says that Neil Craig is coaching for the bigger picture right at the moment. Mike Cook dumped, good tackle, had it and was dragged to the ground. No free kick for Rowan Bale. I think he thought he deserved one.
Boys, you talked about the lack of entries for Melbourne. They've been pretty efficient when they've gone in there. They've only been in 5 times for 3 goals won, so you'd be happy with that part of it anyway.
Well, I was just having a look at the talent that's down there. Jurrah, Davey, Green and J-Mark.
Stephen Martin, who you said had a future in the ruck, is in the ruck at the moment, Jurrah, so showing that future as we speak. Watts, Pocket, and Petrenko, who, as I said, is wearing Andrew McLeod's old number 23. Jared Petrenko edges him out, and that's a free kick.
He's handballed into his leg.
Okay, so he handballed into his leg.
Over the line, please. Thank you.
So that's the cleverness of this rule. No, he didn't.
Must have been over beforehand.
Exactly. Brodie Martin. Short, Seller sets him up. Fist goes straight through a couple. Stolen by Davey. Sidestep. Too clever. He had a big gap to aim for, and he could have just drop punted it through. They don't drop punt anymore.
He could have kept running as well, but geez, it was a nice defensive spoil to the middle of the ground, to the danger zone. That's just 5 points gone begging there, Shurrah.
Well, you like to see some, what can I say, inventiveness in the game. That's a senior player who has cost you now 5 points in a game. Yeah, we're talking about 4 points during the year. Maybe just to say, come on, play the straight bat. Oh, this is not a great kick.
Oh, Tambling out of bounds on the full. Just Michael Evans, rookie list player, first game for the D's. Trengove, Maloney, Martin, Sylvia thumps it back, full forward. Jurrah's down there, off 2 steps, if you don't mind.
I was going to say that initial kick to centre-half back was a dumb kick for mine, because it opened up the Demons. A counter-attack would have gone forward. I think it was Sylvia, or it may have been Brett Maloney, that brought it to ground. They had this bloke one out, and you'd reckon you'd back him in more so than having 5 or 6 possessions, and he just proved it once again, off 2 steps, as you said, Dwayne, and he plucked it a beauty.
Well, he likes it here. He won Mark of the Year here at AAMI Stadium last year. It was really a line ball decision between he and Brendan Goddard. But this will be a handy lead for the Demons with a minute left on the clock in the opening half. Slots it with ease.
Well, it's been a terrific 7 minutes or so for Melbourne. They were flat for the first 5 or 6 minutes, Shurrah, and yet in this second half of the opening half, they have been quite dominant.
I just think kicking penetration will split you apart. And you can see Colin Sylvia, he could have handballed again on the end of that, looked and thought, nah, let's get into the danger zone. Liam Jarrett just too much. Read the ball well. Standing leap, which is sensational. And
Nearly did his ankle.
Tell you what, if Richard Tamling's playing on him, I think they might have to make that change, I would think.
Poor old Luke Thompson is now on Liam Jurrah. So from Brad Green to Liam Jurrah.
Education,
Yeah, I don't think it can get any worse, can it?
Holding 22 again.
Okay, so a hold, and it's Otten's free. He said 22 the free, and Brett Maloney thought it was his. Otten long, Walker up. It's out of the contest a little. Now, a toe poke to the boundary is not a good option when last man touching it. Slick hands, though, Cullinan. And the 28-year-old a bit old there.
Do you think under the old rules, Shurrah, the Crows would have forced that ball out there?
No doubt. Stop play, set it up again.
Bartram, Garland, Evans. He's had a few touches, the debutant Green. Is there time enough for one last Demon score? Captain's got it. He won't know how long left. Centering kick. Stephen Martin's having an influence. Trengove needs to get on with it and now knows it. Jetta from 45. It's long, but it's wide.
All clear, Steve.
So half-time in game 1 of the NAB Cup opening round. It's Adelaide versus Melbourne, and after this game, it'll be Port Adelaide versus Melbourne, and then the final game of the three, Port Adelaide v Adelaide. Hope you're enjoying having footy back. The Demons are enjoying it. They lead 27-9.
Well, there's the forward line for the Demons, and it's pretty dangerous, Shorey, particularly when Jurrah is on song. Aaron Davey, I think if Jurrah can start to dominate, I suspect that we'll see a bit of Aaron Davey in defence. I think that's their weakness. As I said earlier, getting that ball with good disposal out of defence, but if they can plug that up with Bennell doing well and one or two others that aren't playing tonight, Scully, if you like, it gives them that flexibility to play him through the middle and forward.
Well, I think you'll see a lot more of that. A lot of midfielders now, Jerry, with one less interchange in the normal year. It means you've got to find probably 25% more time into each player. So I think a lot of midfielders will go to half forward, maybe even some of the ruckmen going to the full forward area as a longer target, and that'll be something that will change from last year.
Walker's so impressive in the first quarter or the first half for the Crows. Just didn't get the job done as well as he could have on the scoreboard.
Otten to Dangerfield. Tough kick to be grabbing. Little flick over the back almost worked. Not quite though. McDonald, Bartram and Bennell. Not sure who he was handballing to, but just had to go back and get it. Handball there for Brodie Martin in the end. Dangerfield floats it inside 50, hoping Douglas can get there, but great commitment, McDonald.
He finished the season so well last year for Melbourne.
They were dropped mid-season, which was strange, but has been a great pickup, Joel McDonald. Grimes back. Garland held up.
Moving on. Play on.
Adelaide with some breeze in the second half. This floats on it a little again. Martin, who's been very solid, tackled, a little too slow to get rid of it. Got a handball up, according to the umpire, in the end. Got away with it. Yench didn't get a kick away, but got away with it. Bennell, and now Dangerfield shoots it back again. Jacobs all the way outside 50. Van Berlo, this would be for 9, but it's going to be wide and not be any.
Notice the nets have been left up, Shorey, for the first time. There's a good picture of them. Probably haven't got much time, given that there's no time on to fetch the football.
Yes, and also having a lack of a crowd tonight, Jared, you might be able to get a footy and run out the back without a lot of security to stop you.
It's not a bad crowd in, and a great initiative by the AFL. 15% of all gate takings in round 1 of the NAB Cup going to help those who were victims of the floods, to help those grounds that were affected and help the communities that were affected. So a great initiative by the AFL. 15%, not just tonight, but every round 1 fixture, and there's plenty more to come tomorrow night, Sunday, and of course next week when Great Western Sydney and the Gold Coast make their debuts, which will be a great night as well next Saturday night.
Well, Brad Green's been a bit stiff. I reckon he could have got 2 free kicks for in the back the last minute or so. Douglas doing a pretty good job disguising it.
Little flick down was good. Maloney kept the ball alive and then knocked it out.
Now that
is that a free?
That's got to be in a tackle, doesn't it?
No,
I know
been given.
It's either a smother or a spoil, Dwayne, but he had the ball and got tackled. Let's have a look. It wasn't that one. This one here, you just touched the ball.
That's a huge pluck. Fantastic mark taken by Sean McKernan, and if he can continue to show that kind of form, Adelaide Crow fans will be extremely happy. Took one in the opening term.
And they're certainly not out of this, Adelaide. A lot of people, I think, around the ground were thinking that this was a one-sided game, sure, but they were pretty dominant early, and if this one goes through, they've got the assistance of a wind. They are going to be pretty competitive.
Well, he's from the famous bloodlines, of course, and he's from Tullamarine, so no wonder he could take flight then. And he sends it straight through the middle.
So they're now trailed by just the 2 goals, or given the wind that they've got, they may be able to put a super goal through.
So he only played the one game last year, Jurrah, but in the under-18 before he was drafted, that carnival, probably one of the most impressive carnivals, especially, you know, going into the finals and that with Calder. Yeah. There's no doubt, look at the build. He's still got a bit of ruck work, a bit of bodybuilding to do himself to build up, but a great size for football. And just showed there he's got a good, strong set of hands.
That game that he played, Jurrah, was actually the year before. Didn't play a game at all last year for the Adelaide Crows. But did play the one game the year before in 09. The brother of Corey.
Sometimes you only have to see one thing in a player. And
that under-18, I just remember that carnival, and he was very impressive.
So from the ball up, they're back in it, Adelaide. And if you win both your games, you're through to the second round, guaranteed. Yench on hands and knees. Dangerfield. Long. Through toes. Garland gets back first. Walker. Can't. Oh, he does wrap him up. Good tackle in the end. Now, last man to touch it out of bounds will be a free. It's off Bartram. So it's Adelaide's ball. Play on quickly. Sloan long. Full forward. Off hands. McDonald had a piece of it. Danger here for the Demons again. Great tackle. Tried to break free, but unable to get through in the end. Matthew Wright, another debutant for the Adelaide Crows tonight from North Adelaide. Second season playing off the rookie list.
You've got to be careful here. The Adelaide Crows are absolutely killing Melbourne in clearances.
McKernan tries to knock it down, then tries to kick it away. Perfect spot for a ball up if you're Adelaide. Davey, Dunn.
He's the man down
Davey, we threw it back and taken out by Walker. It'll be Melbourne's free.
And that's essentially the problem. You can't play natural football with this rule.
No, I agree with you, Jurrah. The last touch, you've got to be a footballer thinker, really, to understand what's going on. It's against the natural grain, isn't it, to run at the ball?
It's surprising you say that, boys. I thought, given this new rule and the ball being more in motion, that it would be a lot quicker, but it's no quicker than a normal match, even though I know it is a NAB Cup match, but it's been a slow ball movement, really, by both teams. The Crows trying to generate some run from half back.
So you all hate the rule, in essence?
Well, no, it's just not natural, Dwayne. It might take a bit more to get
used to. Just a yes or no will do, sure?
No.
Right, OK. So I was right the first time. No, everybody doesn't like it.
I hate's a bit harsh, I think.
Well, fair enough.
I think it's got some positives. It cut out a lot of, I think, stoppages in the first half, but it's those incidents where you actually... You can't actually attack the ball, which I think is going to kill it.
Well, it's only in for round 1 of the NAB Cup. It won't be in for round 2. Melbourne hoping they'll be there for round 2. Burnell.
Davey in the back half, sure, is, I reckon, almost a given.
Close to the line, and how will they adjudicate that? Tapped out by Matthew Bate.
Yeah,
I don't think he's going to play there as a half-back flanker, but as a half-forward who pushes up into the middle, or a middle who pushes into defence.
Well, the one thing it does, it releases him to get away from a tag if he's going to sit in the midfield.
Coming off the ground now, Pickers.
So a dangerous spot here. Daniel Talia doesn't want to take it out. The debutant. Second year on the list, but yet to play a game. Daniel Talia. He was picked 13 in the draft, and he couldn't quite complete the deal there for the Adelaide Crows. This sits up. Knocked back outside 50. Callanan knocked it on. Stolen back again by Bartram. Full forward. Crows with the numbers. Everybody wants to fist it. Davis hacks it out of the area. Makes it somebody else's problem. McDonald with a couple to beat. Off hands and slick hands Jack Dunstan. Douglas caught. Didn't really have it. Callanan, 28-year-old debutant, and a brilliant tackle. Otten, good to see him back as well.
Yeah, I thought it was a brilliant tackle. In fact, it looked to me as if the ball was thrown out by, is it Colin Sylvia? I think it may have been. Let's have a look. He picks the ball up. And that's throwing the ball.
Tackle, isn't it?
Yep.
Tell you, like Jack Gunston, too, he's just shown enough early in this game. So he's got a bit of ability. Just that rule, Dwayne, the good thing is this is the format to trial it, to see whether it's any good.
You're trying to find a positive out of it now, Shuri.
I'm just saying this is the format.
I admire your attempt. Bale to half forward. Bate cuts it off. Maric backwards. Sylvia, little untidy. Bate tries to mop it all up.
Hands.
And they should get out of it. Jetta, long, full forward. And again, Davis takes a strong grab. He's looking solid.
Well, he was famously dropped late in the season for Nathan Bock, who came back into the side and given his horse.
Horrendous turnover. Brodie Martin. Melbourne can capitalise. Bale goes wide, too wide. That'll be out of play, and a free kick to Adelaide.
Well, they had an opportunity there, Melbourne, to open them up, but they just didn't think it through well.
Phil Davis again. Gee, they might mess this up as well. Douglas, Davis. Oh, handball out. Bate tries to steal a goal, gives it up. Maric kicks around the body and makes them pay big time.
Well, one thing about it, they just didn't have enough poise there, the Adelaide Crows, under some good pressure from Melbourne, and that's exactly what you need. Good forward pressure, keep at the opponent, but the handball twice hit the ground. Sorry, third time hit the ground. That was the third handball, and Bate just released it backward to a player. Maric kicked his second goal. One from a handball on that occasion and one from a mark earlier in the first quarter.
A smart play by Matthew Bate. He hasn't had a huge impact, only had just the 4 handballs, but that handball was as good as a goal. It was a smart decision. He could have blazed away, but poked it back nicely.
Just the one game last year, Addam Maric. And there's Jurrah Petrenko and that famous number 23. It didn't even get cold. Andrew McLeod's old jumper. And Jurrah Petrenko jumped into it. It is a strange-looking Adelaide outfit when you consider so many of their stars. McLeod, Edwards, Goodwin, Burton and Bock, of course, not there. And strange old Melbourne without Cam Bruce to go with it. McNamara couldn't trap that and beaten forward in the end by Gunston. And as we said, he's having a good night at the office. Back to Gunston. Disciplined kick, top of the square. Tough ball to grab. And was that deliberate? Okay, under enough pressure.
No hurry here if you're a Melbourne player, surely.
No, because there's no time on added in the first 17.5 minutes of the quarter. So you wait until you get the hurry up here.
Fellas, I was just having a look at Ben Rutten, who's a substitute for Adelaide, obviously one of their most experienced defenders.
Oh,
really
Jurrah. Sorry, Liam.
Sorry.
The other Liam was getting a bit higher than you.
Yeah, well, cut me off for him any time. But he was, I was just saying that Rutten's been doing a bit of work with young Petrenko, who's playing in defence. We saw him play mainly forward last year.
Substitute Adelaide, 38, player on 7.
So as you heard, there's been a change. Tony Armstrong on. So there's going to be a change. Was Tony Armstrong there?
I think it's about Van Berlo,
that's
wasn't it?
Great vision.
It's about to happen. Done.
That's a shocking kick, but he's got away with it. That was brilliant vision. We'll get a replay of that. He was right under the pump there, and he found it, Brent Maloney.
Michael Evans to Jack Watts. Now this would be a 9-pointer if he goes for it. Elects not to. Trengove straight through him. Richard Tambling. Untidy handball, but Cook makes it look okay. John Cock. Again, Gunston couldn't get anywhere near it. That was the target he was going for. And another turnover. Douglas. Adelaide still believes they're a chance here. Walker. Open forward line. No one really ahead of him. Thumps it long and was pushed on the kick. So he can have a free kick downfield if he wants to here. Okay, so he can take the shot. Even though the man on the mark will be 45 out, it still counts as 9 points as long as he kicks from just outside the line.
Make sure you keep an eye on that line.
They've altered that rule slightly this year.
Signal 9 points, mate.
Horrible turnover for Melbourne. Now, the game just about wrapped up, Jurrah. That ball goes in, hits the chest, have a shot at goal, but all of a sudden, if this goes through for 9, it could well cost them the match.
Well, they're one kick away if this goes through for 9, but once again, even though the man's on 45, he has to kick from outside the paint. And he does. Strikes it. Okay. But not nicely enough.
Just a quick nomination, Jurrah, for the best kick of the year to date. Have a look at this for under pressure. Right under the pump is Maloney. Looks up and poke passes one into the middle of the ground. Whoa. Just an early nomination.
Great vision.
Grimes, vision. If he knew he was there.
I think
he did have a look.
He waited it.
And that's almost a mark, but not quite for Jeremy Howe. Another first gamer playing tonight for the Demons. In tight. Adelaide still working it around Dangerfield. Long. Walker's the target again, gets back, and it's McKernan again in the middle of the pack.
Gee, I think they need someone like McKernan. They really at times have. Douglas was one of their best goal kickers last year, but they need a big target to stand up and just allow other players to go into the ruck and rotate through that area. And this man, gee, he's got great hands.
Everyone needs someone like this kid, sure, if he keeps doing that.
Yeah, but they haven't had enough goal kickers who spread the load. They've been inconsistent in that area, the Adelaide Crows.
Drives it home, and it's a 10-point game.
Well, once again, there was a neutral ball on centre wing, or a little bit more forward than that, and the Crows were able to somehow extract it. That was the end of it, but it was almost in Melbourne's control. And they have just, I think, taken the foot off the accelerator 5% here, Shorey, and given the Crows a bit of a sniff.
So one thing that looks like it has changed. Late last year, Patrick Dangerfield went in the midfield, Jurrah.
Yeah. And
there's no doubt he's going to play a bigger part in there. Sitting in forward, he's a dangerous player, but gee, sometimes if the ball's not coming in well enough, you can be a player who goes out of play. Whack him in the middle ground. He's been very good tonight.
Let's go downstairs. There's Nathan Van Berlo, Liam Pickering.
Yeah, Nathan Van Berlo, the captain's obviously, before the game, they've decided a certain amount of time he would play. So they've taken him off. He's not injured. He's 100% fit, but they've just given a bit of a rotation with Tony Armstrong, the young fella, for the last 6 or 7 minutes.
And he can play in the showdown, game 3. Trengo, long, Jurrah, got hands on it. He's fantastic off that 1- and 2-step lead, but he chases this one down superbly. Couldn't quite get the handball up. Free kick Adelaide.
He once again was a bit stiff, Liam Jurrah. He looked to me as if he had some hands in the back. In another era that they might have been a bit more potent on that one.
Mike Cook, back pocket. So this is the second half of game 1. 3 games tonight. After this, it'll be Port Adelaide and Melbourne, and then Port Adelaide and Adelaide to finish off the evening. If you win both your games, you are through to the second round.
That's better from Richard Tambling. I've been watching him all night, Dwayne. He's been lazy, and once the ball's been released and they get control from halfback, that time he worked very hard to space.
Sure, Adelaide Crows fans didn't want to hear the word lazy and Tambling in the same sentence tonight, Shorey.
But I said it the other way.
Maloney, I know, but you're saying in essence you thought he might have been a little lazy. He can be a little lazy. J-Mar, inboard. Maloney. Now, he can send this long if he wants to, and he does, and there's no one home. Almost, and that is a free to Maric.
As good as his vision was in that other one, Shorey, that one neutraliser, that was a shocker.
So Armstrong short. Henderson been on the bench, now on for Adelaide, and they've got the loose man running. Petrenko wide, Dangerfield. He's got Armstrong if he wants him by hand. He ignores that, puts the skates on, and a terrible kick. Green read it well. Handball not so good. Terrible handball for Trengove. And Davey, slick enough? No, not good enough. Not 15. So play on. Right. Got the handball out, the first gamer. Gets it back to Armstrong. 2 full forward. And a manhandled free to Walker.
Bit of lactate starting to influence decisions, I think. Tony and skills, couple of poor decisions and executions. And skills there have set up the Crows for another shot.
So a big kick this. A behind would make it a super goal, the difference, with about 2 minutes and 15 left. And a goal would make it a 3-point game. 4-point game, I should say. And it's a behind, so it's a super goal, the margin.
Had some horrible moments in front of goal, and he would have been hoping just to kick-start his season with new technique, no doubt, Shorey, and a new mindset. But
now, by the way, guys, if it's a draw, it's a draw.
no replay?
No replay, and no extra time. No. No replay next week. Big couple of minutes coming up. Martin now, that's off. A spoiling contest, so it's not last man touching it free. It's a spoil.
Oh. I thought they were all going for the mark. Didn't see many fists in there, Dwayne. But
In a marking contest, even if there's no spoil, it doesn't count as last man to touch it, or in a smother. Maloney caught. They're under some pressure here, the Demons, and called out of that Stephen Martin. It might have been going over his head, giving the benefit of the doubt. Now, Maric, you can't do that, unfortunately, when you're the last man that touched it.
Got to cover the other side of the ground here because that's the way the Crows will head.
Inside 2 minutes. Luke Thompson for Adelaide. Short.
This.
And he's turned it over. Well, if you're a debutant, you don't want to be doing that. Armstrong in trouble. Handball Petrenko, who gets them out of a big spot of bother here. Maybe. Handballs it back. Thompson over the top of it. He got it up just in time to Jurrah, and he could have sealed it. Maybe a behind will seal it anyway.
Well, Liam Jurrah, fantastic smother, and he deserved that goal then, but just didn't finish himself. They're rusty, Jared.
Who isn't rusty?
That's early, but they're rusty.
Brodie Smith for Adelaide.
One thing is clear, Jurrah, you're not allowed to kick a goal with a drop punt. If you're 5 metres out.
Otten. Down to 1 minute 12. They need a goal and they need one quickly. Martin again shows some toe. And he showed a bit too much to... That's not the man you want to show it to, Aaron Davey, who couldn't tap it out. And is that a free kick to Melbourne?
No, that's a tackle, isn't it? The rule.
Yeah, it's free kick to Melbourne. If it's a tackle and you tackle a guy out, you get the free.
That's a mark. Stay there.
So if you smother you don't get the free kick.
If you tackle, you do.
And if everybody goes for the mark, it doesn't count. Yeah.
Smothering doesn't count and marking contests don't count.
As you can see, time on is awarded in the final 2.5 minutes.
Big fists, so that won't count if it travels out, but that will count because Gunston backed it out.
It's another Melbourne ball.
Sylvia. The silence in the box here gives you the indication that the boys who didn't like the rule earlier still don't really like it that much.
Well, just a normal
Sylvia.
evasive skill that you want in any player to have to teach him goes out the window also. But that's life.
That's life.
That's life.
And now John Cott was tackled out of play, so this should be a Melbourne ball as well.
Yeah.
Carried it over. Sorry. Mate, touching it. Okay, throw it in there, thanks.
Gee. Okay.
That was a spoiled end way, is it?
No, it was a tackle.
No, he doesn't know who touched it last.
Right, okay, he was unsure. As opposed to our Shaw, who's pretty sure that he doesn't like it. Douglas wrapped up, and we'll get a ball up.
Thanks, guys.
So the winner of this round robin will go straight through to the second round. There's 6 round robins, so that's 6 teams through, and then the 2 best performed other teams will also go through to make up the 8 for the next round of the NAB Cup, and that will be the old knockout style.
Great play by Gunston then again.
So 10 points the difference. Dangerfield inside 50. Can't quite trap it. McDonald, he tackled him and dragged him off it. No holding the ball free. The crowd weren't holding the man. Dangerfield inboard. Sylvia, Cook. Cook dives in, averts the pressure. Green, and he will captain his first win. Brad Green, the Demons win the opening game of this NAB Cup opener against the Adelaide Crows by 10 points. Hope you enjoyed the format. There's plenty more to come though, of course, because the Demons will play on now. They'll have a 20-minute break, so it's like a half-time break of a normal home and away game. The Demons have the 20-minute break, and then they will play 2 20-minute halves against Port Adelaide in game 2, and then the Adelaide Crows will come back out and they'll play against Port Adelaide in the 3rd game.